there's no way. I'm already so still burning. So hold to me close, now baby. I do what I'm told, still learning to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm, no longer wishing, you're my lucky strike. Love the way you ride, look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1,000,000 life, we could roll the dice, act like you're surprised, but you already know. Oh yeah, got lucky overnight, jackpot when I got the invite. Let me wrap my arms around you, cause I can't go home without you. And my heart just vibe with you, babe. Wanna go sky high with you, babe. Gotta bring you close to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. Cooler than cold, I'm all in. So load up the dice, so heavy. The way that you roll, I'm falling. So I never fall, I'm ready to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm, no longer wishing, you're my lucky strike. Love the way you ride, look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1,000,000 life, we could roll the dice, act like you surprised, but you already know. You're my lucky strike, and I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike. And I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you that you're my lucky strike.
I know that you think it's so important to convince everyone else that you're not boring, but it's making me feel like my skin is crawling. I keep pouring out my empathy to someone I don't even see eye to eye with. I don't mind if you don't have it all together, yeah, I get it, we're all human, but I give you an inch and you take miles. It's tragic, ruining my sanity with tales of animosity. I'd rather I cry than let you drive me crazy, lose my mind, and I swear I might die if I cared more, but you're not worth the time. You never put me up front, cause it's your spotlight. I'm in the backseat of my own car. I'd rather cry than let you drive me crazy one more night. Climbing up somebody else's ladder just to make yourself feel just a little bigger. I don't know if I've seen anything that's sadder. It's so hard to comprehend how you don't even understand, stepping on me without even trying. Never seen somebody get so good at lying. It's impressive you don't spend all your time crying over all the ways you let me down. So many I could drown, but I'd rather cry than let you drive me crazy, lose my mind, and I swear I might die if I cared more, but you're not worth the time. You never put me up front, cause it's your spotlight. I'm in the backseat of my own car. I'd rather cry than let you drive me crazy one more night. Typical emotional, sensitive and cynical, took my sanity and sent it up the wall. Typical emotional, it's so unoriginal. I gave you the best and you just took it all. Oh, I'd rather cry than let you drive me crazy, lose my mind, and I swear I might die if I cared more, but you're not worth the time. You never put me up front, cause it's your spotlight. I'm in the backseat of my own car. I'd rather cry than let
Me tiene loco en la cabeza cuando me tocas. Siento que todo está bien, pero en verdad yo no sé si tú lo sientes también. Entonces quiero saber por qué desde que te vi yo vivo diferente. No me importa a mí lo que dice la gente, porque tú siempre la prendes candela. Te quiero a mi lado toda la vida, mi nena. La mano pegada y los pies en la arena. Pase lo que pase.
Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We've gone with a very... how do I put it? Exotic bit of music? How's it all going, everyone? Is the music to voice ratio good, bad, horrendous? What do we... Yeah, some Spanish music. Is it Spanish? I mean, it's nice. It's a bit different for me. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you're from. I'm not sure if Magus is ever streaming again. I think he might be GG'd. I think that's Magus clapped out of the market forever. We'll see. Tip top, excellent. Poolside music. Move your hips, bro. Yeah, exactly. Right. So we've had a nice intraday bull market for the past 24 hours on Fartcoin. People asking about this specific trade. My original trade was here in this breakout, and I was longing Fartcoin in my outlook, and then this, as you can probably tell, is essentially this breakout here. Little range establishing, breakout, relative strength, bosh, off we go. Leave it because I'm lazy, and because it's been basically the only thing with any form of relative strength going, and now I might be forced to close it. But I have held this position actually. It's been an interesting one. Trying to put my thing on what's it called? A screen that doesn't exist. But yes, I have basically held the whole thing, which isn't like me. Usually I'm quite quick to take profit and just be in and out, but that's it, like as of now. I think I might have to take profit on this. And the kind of general consensus with this kind of like arbitrary target thing is, you know, if we are sticking to said trend, if I just delete all of this, you know, what's the point? What's the point in letting go of a coin that hasn't lost trend, that's not showing any form of like high time frame weakness or anything like that? Like there's a nice div across there, you know, that's a reasonable time to take some profit, but you know, during this period, why bother? Anyway. Can you lower the music a bit? Yeah, let's do that. Music can be distracting to focus. Yeah, I know, but I like the music, to be honest. And not only that, it's I think it's a little bit of a vibe, considering my voice is pretty dull in English. Feels like April Fool pump and then dumps. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't judge anything by that in particular. Like, for me, I've basically got two plans for the next however long, right? I've gone to Solana, I've gone too far. My two plans are the same as last week, which is this, everything around that 92 kind of level, right? And I think we talked about last week the aggressive kind of short, or maybe that was in the Paragon stream. Yeah, I think that was in the Paragon stream, like this kind of playing the confluent levels of diagonal breaks, range breaks, like everything kind of lining up for a short there, which I didn't end up taking because I was AFK. But for me, the next big trade, if I just delete all of this shit, is really, really simple. It's at that 91, 92 level. It's here, as it has been for a couple of weeks, right? I can't get too excited about shorting anything like this. Like, as far as I'm concerned, it's not going to take much to kind of break this diagonal and actually start moving to the upside. Now, if you wanted to take a long position and be quite aggressive into it, you know, something like this, a bit of continuation in terms of market structure. So you've got, you know, this is the higher low, bosh, off we go. You've got the confluence of the diagonal break, blah, blah, blah. You know, off we go. And that's a, you know, reasonable trend break setup. But for me, the big one is going all in spot if we reclaim 92, and then just hoping that we run this up and essentially take the next leg of the market. Sorry, I think I've got something streaming. I've had a couple of problems with my internet lately, but whatever. We will persevere. You know, I don't want to be shorting this low. There's definitely no setup for me in terms of short unless I want to be really aggressive, and I want to take something like this, which is, again, the kind of polar opposite of this, which is a rejection here, and assuming that this is going to be, you know, a lower high. But at the moment, I haven't really got much to kind of suggest that it's going to be. You know, this is a decent move up in terms of structure. There's a very janky div that's reset across this low, across here, so it makes it kind of inactionable. There's nothing for me to say, right, jump on short here and, you know, try and play that trending move down. Especially because I've still got my short open from 105. So, you know, the question is, do I want to add to that and bring my average entry down? That's what I'm constantly kind of looking at. Do I want to kind of add to this and make this trade look something like this, right? And the answer is no, not unless it's a really good setup off low time frame. So yeah, there's not really much changed in terms of my bias, and in terms of BTC, big level for me is definitely that 91, 918. You know, anything around there, basically. That's kind of key high time frame pivot. How are you all feeling about it, given that we've just spent $10 billion between Sailor and Tether buying Bitcoin, and price hasn't really done a huge amount? I find that wild. Absolutely wild. Like, who is selling? Am I the only one that feels like that? Help me out, chat. Let's talk about feelings in this bear market, or in this low volatility period. Or don't, I suppose. Fine. Don't like the Sailor seems to be the only bit. Yeah, there's a huge risk in terms of Sailor propping up all the Bitcoin. It's convertible. I think it's just convertible bonds that yeah, I think it's both maybe it's just the bonds, I can't remember what it is, but one of them is redeemable for cash, I think, which like $1 billion or something. It's just all numb now. It's mental. Every metric says up and we just go sideways or down. Yeah, it's pretty mad. I was speaking to someone else about this. I was looking at like all these altcoin charts, right? All these altcoin charts look like they bottomed and then they just keep going down. Like, they all look like they've absolutely hit rock bottom. But I think we're now feeling the effects of like liquidity dispersion. The 1 hour, 4 hour had an exponential-ish bid move into a supply zone. Oh, on Bitcoin, yeah, maybe. I don't really trade like that, but the act dump was insane today. Yeah, can we talk about that for a minute? Because that was wild. Like, look at that. Look at that. Just nothing, Vroosh. Minus 50%. In a single candle. Did you get a bag of Bitcoin yet? Looking best chat out there? No, I did not actually. One of my friends, Fitz, he bought a big bag of Bitcoin. Altcoins look like bouncing balls bouncing on the table and then rolling off the edge of the table. Yeah, that's the classic kind of euthanasia roller coaster, which is this, you know, in terms of how altcoins die. Progressively less momentum. And that's exactly what we got. But yeah, this is wild. And all those Binance coins that just got absolutely obliterated. Those fucking poor people, man. Seriously. I remember when, like, my friend CRG had, like, $6 million worth of ACT or something up here, and it just, like, literally got listed on Binance, and they're just fucking down only. So savage. Binance listing used to be good. Binance listing used to be like, your coin has made it, you are going to make $1 million at least if you hold, like, any of this coin. Whereas now it's like, better sell, your coin's fucking dead. Master the whipsaw? Nice. I love Charlie. Thanks, Fukaran, to find out. I love you too. Any news about the Desync future roadmap? Thanks. I'll ask them. I've actually literally just been messaged by them So I've just literally messaged them for you. Look at that. That is service with a smile, isn't it? I should probably do this shout out to Destro Network saying thank you for sponsoring the stream. Because, yeah, we should have done that at the start. But I'm a bit rusty. I'm a little bit excited because I'm going to Florida on Friday for 2 weeks. So I'm guessing that the entire market is going to absolutely rip a new asshole during those 2 weeks. And I will not be there to trade it, which is wonderful. Yeah, I think last week we talked about this in terms of break, a big diagonal trend, reclaim, high time frame pivotal level, and the market just dumped anyway, which is great. You know, not ideal. I've been holding this bag for a while, as you will know. Still think something like this is a good setup. Obviously, it didn't work there. It didn't work for Popcat either, which I also tried, which was this reclaim here. Nice little move, and then just, you know, market's dead. Market's got zero fucking stick at the moment. And I think a lot of coins are probably going to end up doing this for a period of time, right? Everyone's going to be like, oh my god, it went up. We're macro bullish again. We're going to absolutely return to everyone aping their life savings into shitcoins. But I think it's more likely going to be something like this. Big sell-off, big reclaim, and then we start going again on certain alts. And whichever ones of these go first, they're going to be your best things to trade by a country mile. So work out how you can get on these, and work out how to use spaghetti for the love of God during these kind of times. And before some clever clog says it, I'm going to go put it in the chat. Am I visiting Doc? No. Am I linking up with Doc in Florida? I haven't planned to, but I should. Also, Doc has doxed me, and he's far too handsome for me to meet up with. So, probably not. But if he wants to come to Disneyland, he's more than welcome. There you go, there's the classic spaghetti link that someone was going to ask for. Look at Mask, absolutely shitting the bed. Gotta love that. Boom, boom. Lovely beta. Right, come on, take a look at XRP. Yes, because I actually quite like XRP. I don't think there's much else on Bitcoin. Does anyone else got anything else on Bitcoin? Like, for me, it's just in a bit of a boring place, right? RSI, there's not a lot to go from. If I do, like, my standard kind of thought process, right? If we start at, like, monthly, well, just looks ridiculous, doesn't it, from a monthly perspective? People are complaining at this and saying this is fucking, you know, dog shit. In no universe is this terrible, right? This is still strong, uptrending monthly market, but we know that risk appetite is pretty shit, because if we compare that to, you know, alts, and alts monthly is pretty useless because a month is like a, you know, a 5-year cycle in TradFi and altcoins. You know, if we look at like the weekly since the start of 2025, basically everything has got fucked. Me putting it politely. You know, at least 50% off your favorite altcoin. Most memes are down 60 to 70 to 80%. You know, it's been pretty brutal, except OM, which I caught a lot of that. Just, you know, suck myself off, why not? No one else is going to. But yeah, structurally, it doesn't look particularly terrible, but then you go into, like, the weekly, and we're just meandering around this 50 level. There's no trade here, you know, crossing over on some oscillator as you would expect, because we are sort of retesting and deciding what trend we're now going to pick up next. And bear in mind, the way I like to think of the markets in terms of rotations is we are trending, we are consolidating, we are trending, we are consolidating. And you know, that's what the market does. It does one of the two, trends or consolidates. And for me, this is like a reasonable place to do a bit of consolidation, because we're at that 50, we're at that point of like indecision. And I think that lasts for longer than people can kind of stay engaged. Really. And then we get something like this and then we go. But I'd love to be wrong. Love to be wrong. But it's also not the best place to jump on a short, for the reasons that we talked about earlier, in my opinion. And then you go to like 3-day, then you go to like daily, and again, there's not really much. Like 3-day, you could argue, is there's a little bit of, you know, strength starting to come through, and the fact that we're kind of pushing up, but really there's not too much that's exciting. If anything, this kind of on the daily says that, you know, we're chopping a little bit around that mid RSI point, and yeah, for me it's just I've got no clean read on this, so cash is a position. Do you see a scenario Bitcoin bottoming here? Yeah, for the reasons I just explained. Sorry, I've only just sort of seen your message. For the fact that we are, you know, monthly, that would paint a rather nice market structure. From a weekly perspective, we're kind of at that 50 level. Oh shit! Don't do that again, Charlie. We're at that 50 level. We're deciding if we want to cross an awesome oscillator. We're deciding if we want to stay under that 50 level and start trending down. You know, the EMAs are starting to point down, but really that's not particularly strong. You know, we've had periods of consolidation before. I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if we get something like that. But my plan is to kind of buy some strength. And, you know, I am more bearish, I suppose, than bullish in a kind of short term. So I'm always long-term bullish on Bitcoin, right? I always think that we're going to outpace gold. I think that the nature of Bitcoin, the fact that it's a Ponzi, if these parties keep buying it and keep you know, holding it and keep generating the hype, and they don't want to sell and they're looking for multiples on it, you know, 5, 10x, I think we overtake gold. I think that becomes a realization probably like next cycle. You know, I don't know what this cycle looks like. I don't know whether this is done now. I don't know if we go to 150k or whatever and then kind of die off, and then we consolidate at like 50 and that's the kind of lows or some shit like that, and then we do another cycle. But it's like, I think the next cycle will be a predominantly Bitcoin denominated cycle, and I actually think that altcoins there'll be pockets of altcoins that do well, but I think because of the dispersion they'll just get generally fucked. I think a couple of memes will do well, a couple of projects will do well, but in general, unless there's a new sector of altcoin, they will be very, very difficult. And it will be almost like playing the stock market and picking individual companies and trying to get after them, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of it for me on Bitcoin. I mean, you start looking at ETH and looking for like signs of strength on ETH, and the best I can do is like a little 3-day div across these lows and actually say, well, look, there's a kind of a tiny bit of strength here. But ETH BTC is just, you know, dying an absolute death. There's strong rejection from downtrend continuously on like the daily. Like, there's just nothing to get excited about, right? So, you know, Solana is actually better in terms of its holding up. A few plans on there which I can't be bothered to go through because I'm not actively trading Solana. But if you're kind of long Fartcoin or you're looking at Fartcoin, then it makes sense to kind of look at Solana. This will be interesting. The next trade on Fartcoin is potentially here. So, you know, for me, if we're sort of holding up our meme diagonals and we're holding up like this trend, and we can start pushing above and we can just essentially play this here to at least the highs here, and maybe even like next leg, like proper next leg up. You know, one of the strongest coins in the market at the moment from a daily perspective is that big booty pattern. From, you know, a lower time frame perspective, as we've just gone through, there's actually quite a bit going on in terms of relative strength, like on the hourly and stuff. Like, it's the best performing coin by far, with CRV next and then desync on my altcoin spaghetti, right? So, you know, I'm not saying long here, and still sort of educational piece. Why would I execute here and not here? Anybody? Those of you who have tuned into my streams before. Just delete some of this mess. Shocking mess. Confirmation. RR. Both of those things. Yeah. I mean, I tend not to confirmation and retest, yeah. I tend not to long at lows. Like, you know, for me, if I was being aggressive right now, like let's look at Fartcoin and let's start like trying to construct a bit of an aggressive trade, right? I haven't got anything super clean in terms of like diagonals or anything like that. But what I have got is, by the looks of it, some relative strength. Let's go to the 1 minute. Nah, maybe not. Nah, maybe not. Relative strength isn't there for now. But if there was a little bit of relative strength here, you know, I could be tempted to essentially play this consolidation here, like this. If I was being really aggressive, and when I know a coin is good, I can take positions like this, right? Especially as Fartcoin's actually got pretty decent liquidity. It's not obviously as good as like Bitcoin or something like that. But there's no, just to be very clear, I wouldn't take this specific trade right this second because it's here, it's hugging Bitcoin. Whereas if we started pushing above and we started going, well, actually, this is relatively strong, you know, I want to see it on this rotation, or at least like reclaim this level and start running it up. And I could even do 2 adds if I wanted to, you know, start building the position here, add up here, bringing my average to somewhere here. And then as soon as we start moving, like bring that stop up and just go, well, do you know what? I'll take risk off as we kind of go up, especially as we go into this kind of pivotal area up here. But there's no. What if you have inside info? If you've got inside info, mate. I mean, I'm obviously. This is not financial advice. This stream is for purely educational purposes only. Then you can do what you want with that inside info. That's the first time I've been asked that question. But this is what I mean. This is starting to look better now in terms of an entry because we've actually got some relative strength. We've got the market confirming to us that this is starting to go. It's probably you guys. It's probably one of you whales sat in the chat started smashing in market buy off my non-financial advice. But yeah, that's what I tend to do. Like on low time frames, if I'm being really aggressive and I can see that relative strength, I'm happy to kind of jump in. But usually, I'd rather wait for some high time frame confirmations. And like I said, when you're like when I was doing this trade this morning, what was it yesterday? Yesterday morning, Christ, everything just blurs into one when you sit in front of the PC. I actually longed it here, and I actually unwound it down here as we lost that level there, and then I rebuilt it back over here, and then we ran, and I got quite lucky with that second one. Yeah, 75x max long. I mean, well, Zach is just dishing out financial advice. Yeah, if it works, I'm the greatest trader of all time. If it doesn't work, I told you not to long it, right? Simple as that. We clout farm on Twitter. But no, hopefully you kind of see, and like now, well, it's kind of got its relative strength still. Yeah, I'd probably like leave this, see how it goes, because it's got some relative strength still, and it's not losing it. So we start seeing what happens. But anyway, so a lot of Fartcoin, popperoonery. What else did the boys want to see? They wanted to see XRP and TRX. They were the two next kind of requested ones. I haven't got much else, to be honest, because I've not been super active trading all of this. I've been trying to chill out a little bit, and I've also just not had the appetite for logging like absolutely everything. XRP looks alright in terms of holding up this high time frame range. Like again, for me, like I'd rather see a sell-off and a reclaim than trying to long this. The only two setups that I like on this are this, so that's one, entry number one, and two is either a breakout like here, or that breakout and retest of this little range here. But for me, like, it's probably not got relative strength, right? It's going to be one of the weaker alts in general, and it's going to be lower beta. Hard to get excited about it. Though anyone who was here before will remember the like 50-cent long way back here somewhere, where we targeted like 5.8, 5.89. I managed to hold that for a long time, but it does look, I mean, it does look pretty decent in terms of like high time frame, right? And again, similarly, looking at like a bit of confluence in terms of you've got this diagonal that we're not really into. It's not the best diagonal in terms of, you know, touch points, interactions, etc. But principally, it's downtrending, consolidating price action with a lot of lower highs, but fairly consistently holding up the lows, right? So in terms of market structure, if we sell off and reclaim, it tells you yet again there's demand in this area, and it's probably going to break out. You know, at least challenge the high up here. Break out to 270 and short to 0. I mean, yeah, the vice versa of that trade is something like this. You know, I'd say a bit higher, like 280, not just, yeah, I suppose maybe 270-ish. Like do something like that and then take the short side, and you're just playing the range. You know, you're playing the reclaims to the range high, you're playing the rejection or deviation, as SC says it, from the top, and, you know, anything like that back into the range. And the way that, like, Magus explains it, which is a lot better than I think I ever do, which is, you know, if this is your essentially value area, which is your range, like, this is where the market, like, accepts price. Like, price kind of accepts here, that's why it ranges. The market accepts that the value of XRP is somewhere between here and here. And then as soon as it tries to go higher, and everyone says, well, it should be worth this much, everyone goes, nah, fucking shouldn't, come back in here. And then it carries on oscillating between those two values. And that makes a lot of sense to me, right? The whole auction market theory piece. Which is why, like, range trading in these kind of conditions is good. But then as soon as we start trending, which I think this tells you, right? This tells you usually very quickly what kind of rotation at least we're in. Whether those conditions last for a long time or not, who knows? Yeah. I can see with Spaghetti what kind of risk appetite I should have. And I think that's more nuance and experience than it is anything else. But yeah, I would encourage people to use Spaghetti to do the same. Ina looking as if it's bottoming to it. High time for a support. Meme unlock to be faded tomorrow. Ooh, is there an unlock, is there? We like unlocks. Yeah, this is what I mean. There's a lot of altcoins are kind of printing what we talked about earlier, which is like that big booty pattern of like this. You know, I'm not saying Ian's going to go and run and do this, but I bet there's a nice momentum dip on here somewhere. Kind of across these lows. Not particularly great, but it's sort of there if you squint. Not enough for me to take a monster position, but you know, it's certainly there. It certainly gives you the impression, right, that it's that it is not necessarily bottoming, but the downside momentum has slowed down massively. So yeah, typically when you trade these kind of things, it's something like this, right? Obviously, another stop all the way down here, but essentially under those lows. If there was a bit of relative strength on that, then I'd be tempted, because you've got a reasonable setup, right? You've got a decent set of indicators to take it, but yeah, not yet. TRX is something that someone else wanted. I mean, I've got a question for you. Why TRX? I suppose because it just looks like Justin is manipulating the shit out of it. That is one of the weirdest looking charts. It basically hasn't moved. I mean, it actually looks pretty fucking good, doesn't it? Like, I'm not a big fan of longing straight into resistance, but holy shit. Like, structurally, if you were looking at something like this, it doesn't look too bad at all. And you know, if you look at like these areas, oh, well, I done changed it to logarithmic. Perfect. I do that all the time, and then I don't realize it's fucking log. Yeah, we typically haven't swept the former highs. The only time that we did was here. So yeah, it could be quite a chunky move. I think coins don't like going up in the summer after Q1 pumps. They're too tired. Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about, you know, how cyclical is it all going to be, right? Like, everyone's like, oh, the summer does this, the winter does this does that, and most of those people haven't made millions of dollars out of crypto. So, not that their opinion's invalid, but if everything was completely seasonal, then you just write an algo that says, buy on the 1st of May, sell on the 15th of May, buy on the 17th of June, sell on the 14th of July. You know, random dates out my ass, so please don't do that. But, yeah, you kind of get my point. Yeah, I actually quite like TRX. If it can start moving up, like I said, I like buying strength. So I like buying, if it can push above here, essentially. And then I've got a ton of targets. I've done like an SC and put a load of levels on it, but you kind of get my point. Just don't like summer trading? Yeah, no, that's fair enough, mate. I haven't liked trading in 2025, to be honest with you. You know, I've been doing this for 7 years. Like, it's not my passion's gone. Like, not at all. I love the game and the market. I want to trade a lot more, but I'm at the point where I don't need to trade every day. I don't have to force myself into positions that I think are bad just for the sake of taking positions. You know, I'm still short from Trump. I'm still in like this. From fucking $29. You know. I've taken a couple of big trades. And that's kind of, if I wanted to close up shop now, I'd be alright for the year. Do you know what I mean? Like, not kind of trying to sound like a cunt, but been very fortunate. So, you know, and there's going to be like $400 million worth of this unlocked soon. So this is going to fucking zero. I'm not closing this short until this shit is at least a single digit. Right? I'm going to try and make like 80-90% out of this short. Like literally. It's going something like this. It's going to be the best way that I've ever finished a bull market. And it's still got a little bit further to go for me to be able to say that. Because I shorted Matic at the end of the last bull run. And then I longed it the next day, or the same day. When FTX was my trading place. So yeah. You know, you don't have to trade the summer if you don't want to, I guess is my point. So if you use order blocks to look for FEG, basically wait for price to get in a certain range, or you rely on flipping trend levels. So I used to do a bit more of like order blocks, right? Less about sort of fair value gaps and stuff like that, but I'm mostly looking at levels and resistance support, levels, RSI, so extremes and momentum divergences, so when things look like they're going to change. So you can do a couple of things, right? So momentum divergences into, okay, I've got a thesis that this is going to change. That's number one. Number two is, does it have relative strength? So on my spaghetti, you know, is it a strong coin? Is it like this one? Or am I trying to long like this piece of shit? And then it's all about... Oh. 3. It's all about the old levels. Oh shit, what have I done? Come on, man, that was a good little educational piece. I'm just dishing out. So it's all about the levels, and it's about, you know, high time frame levels. What am I interested in? Where's support resistance? Where's areas of interest? Now, areas of interest can be anything. It's like where it's commonly wicked to. It can be, you know, anything. It doesn't have to be perfectly accurate in terms of to the penny. You know, if I just pick a random chart, right, it's like, look at this. Like, fuck me, this is died to death, hasn't it? Like most things. Oh, I had a fat bag of this. I remember longing it back here. We caught this on a stream, I think. But taking this out, like, let's go to the hourly. Let's start looking at, like, it's a bit illiquid, but, like, all I see is a pivot across here, right? It's not perfect. It's not perfect here, but it's a rejection here. It's this, rejection. You know, so if we start coming up above, okay, well, this is where I'm interested potentially. If this is a strong move, you know, look at a chart in a few seconds and essentially find a couple of levels that you are potentially interested in. Now, this one is probably like the worst level. Like, there's not really much up here. It kind of gets really janky. And even this bit here, like, you could argue that this, because of this here, and all of this across here. Now, I'd probably take this level over this one, to be honest, purely because that's like recent price action. But yeah, like chucking stuff up like that, like literally levels of interest. So if we longed it here and we pushed up here and we rejected, I'd be like, ah, do you know what? Am I done with this trade? Probably. I can always jump back on here, or I can jump back on a retest. I think that's, or sorry, a breakout and a retest. Like, that's the thing that a lot of people don't do, is they don't say, well, do you know what, this is a decent amount of profit, blah, blah, blah. I know I'm doing exactly the opposite with Trump, but that's a, you know, very conscious choice. Most people don't reflect on this and go, well, okay, let's say I close my trade here. How would I get back on board if what I think is going to happen, which is this, happens, and then I'm sidelined? Am I willing to give up this? Because your trade's evolving, right? Your trade's evolving as you're going up. You're up a lot here, if you longed it down here. And then we do this, we round trip the whole thing, close it, because we think, well, we better close it, and then it does this. So yeah, I mean, you never get it right, perfectly. Not consistently all the time. Sometimes you close it here, and you think, that's great, and then it just does this. Sometimes you close it there, and then it does this. And you go, I'm a fucking genius in this scenario, I'm a fucking idiot in this one. Anyway, we went on a little rant there. Hey Charlie, oh, can you be my mentor, please? Well, I mean, I run the Paragon group with Magus and Doc, who are excellent traders. We've all got very different styles. You know, I long Fartcoin for financial freedom. Doc, you know, has a much sort of simpler system in terms of EMAs and, you know, market structure, and explains things very, very well. Magus has a bit more of a complex structure in terms of he adds a lot more depth to his analysis, I would say, in terms of reading the market, reading the flow, you know, order flow, and what's actually kind of happening on underneath the bonnet of the market. So if that's how your mind works, it's a very, very good way of viewing things. So yeah, I'll just put that shell out there. What's the funding like on your Trump short? It's actually alright, mate. For now. It's not going to be. I haven't checked it in a few days, actually. It's going to get ridiculous, I think. It's slightly positive. And I have made some money on it. So... Trump long was on worst trade ever, and I sold at high price and walked away. Nice work, brother. But update. Oh, Bert's in the bin, mate. Bert's in the bin. That's my biggest round trip of probably dollar amount ever, I think. Yeah, Bert's kind of in the bin. But it's like every meme, right? Almost every meme, apart from Fartcoin, looks like utter shit. And, you know, there's no point in me selling this now. No point. Well, one, I'd probably kill the chart. Two, you know, I've sold stuff earlier, like SHIB, than I potentially should have. You know, it was a life-changing amount of money at the time that I sold it for, so I don't regret it at all. But, you know, just get a reclaim, get some strength in the market in general, and watch it go. Oh, what's your biggest round trip too? Yeah. That's the thing with memes, right? It's like, I wanted one meme that I was going to support, I was going to be strong with, I was going to kind of just push and go, fuck this is kind of my meme, and I'll ride or die with it, and I did, and I rode, and I round tripped. I think I'm actually underwater technically, because my average buy was 10-11 million, so it was like here. So I am underwater on this. Personal Hall of Fame screenshot. Yeah, I mean it's not reached my Hall of Fame in terms of fumbled money, but yeah, it's certainly one of the biggest round trips that I can remember me doing. But que sera, I put my money where my mouth was. You know, I had a wallet that I publicly talked about, and that was one of a few wallets. And I think on that wallet alone, I round trip 250k. So, yeah, it's one of those. But everything else was pumping like mad. So, please don't feel sorry for me. Doge thoughts. Doge. I mean, it kind of looks like Bitcoin in terms of like this little consolidation here. The big thing I've got, the big problem I've got with like most altcoins is downtrending high time frame price action, consistent lower highs, no real kind of show of strength in terms of like we're not even at the 50 yet, no real divergences in terms of price action. Like that's a higher low, sorry, and that's, you know, going up as well. So it's not like there's a div there or anything. It's just not like a meme market at the moment because the general market is risk off. Like memes do really well in risk on conditions. If Trump said, I'm not doing tariff wars anymore, I love the world, we're going to print money, blah, 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 you know, your chance of jumping on board something like this, like you'd have to hit the news trade, right? You'd have to hit the news trade to really do it, but show some bullish market structure, show some good signs of strength, right? Not this weakness. We've tried to break out already of this pivot and we failed. We're now underneath it. Do I want to short this? No, we're already down massively from the highs. You know, up here we had a nice divergence across it, if anyone was paying attention back then. I think we talked about it probably on stream, but I don't think we actually took an aggressive short because normally, like a triple div like this, sorry, I'll start again. Triple div, 1, 2, 3, really nice to trade, but this was actually a quad div, which you don't see many of, to be honest. But yeah, for me, I can't be excited by this because it's just too weak. Start showing me strength, start moving the dial on these EMAs, and start showing me some strength, and then I'll be locked the fuck in. What I'm hoping is we do this for at least this month while I'm away for the next 2 weeks, and then we start going, and then we start a new rotation up. Even if we go to somewhere like here, right? I don't care, that'd be a lovely rotation. And that's the thing that we trade crypto for, right? We trade it for the fact that we'll probably get a 50% pump at some point. You know, and on occasion we get moves like this, which is like what? You know, 366%. And okay, maybe you wouldn't catch that, but you could have caught this 260%. You know, again, probably not all of it, but let's be kind of reasonable. Even if you caught it on the downside of this play out, and even if you caught the breakout here, you know, it's still 160% in like a few days, or maybe a month. But you know, Doge wasn't even the best. Any long-term alt spot holds interest you? I mean, a lot of my long-term alt holds have been things that I've either invested in privately or I've held the bag like Bert for a long period of time, right? So just pure caveat all of that. You know, have I put money into things lately? Not particularly. I've invested into a couple of private sales, to be honest. But that's usually because you get a bit of a preferential token price, and because a lot of it's vested over like a 12 to 24 month period. So I'm investing now, but I won't get a lot of my tokens until, you know, 12 months down the line. And for me, it's quite sensible to kind of manage some of that and push some of the investments out to like 2026, 2027 and start thinking about the future. So, you know, you can probably do the same via things like Echo and stuff like that. But in terms of like what alts am I holding, I've got stuff like Bert, I've got stuff like Desync. What else have I got? I've got things I've invested in recently, like Elixir. I don't think it's doing particularly well. Nope. But again, I'm hoping that this will be one of those things where shitting the bed for a while, find some kind of willing participants to buy, and then runs it up. You know, again, not saying buy into a strongly downtrending asset right now, but that's what I'm looking for. And as soon as we do start getting some risk back on, I've got a bag of hype as well. I actually bought at $17 back here, and then round tripped the whole thing back to break even, and I've now round tripped it back down. Tell me those streams happen in Paragon. I'm joining tomorrow. Would you ever do a long ass stream, like a working trading session or something? I'm trying to imagine full-time trading, and that seems to be one of the things I can't picture. I've done like stuff on daily routines and stuff like that, but to be honest, like if I did a full-time stream, what you'd see me doing for the last 3 months, the amount of trades I've done is like minimal. You know, I've gone down volume tiers, put it that way, because I've not done the volume that they require me to do. Because I don't keep huge amounts of assets on exchanges, because I do use leverage, and I just haven't traded much, right? I took a load of trades back in November, December, a couple in January that were of decent size, like, you know, shorting the top, cough, cough. But then after that, it's been, you know, money for Twixes as opposed to balls deep. So at the moment, you'd probably just see a lot of me playing computer games. What I tend to do is have this open all day. If I wasn't streaming, I'd delete this right now. This is a mask thing. Actually, I might just do it anyway, because it's just fucking useless. And I've got this on. And I've either got pre-prepared plans, so like, I want to buy hype if we, let's just, again, make something up. If we cross this, so I'll have some alerts. If that alert pings, I'll peek at the chart and decide if I want to buy it based on the rest of the market. Or if we get something like this, like if this wasn't Burt, right? Burt's quite a liquid. Like, obviously I got a Burt bag, I like Burt, blah, blah, blah. But this isn't where you jump into a big perp position on Burt, because one, you can't trade perps on it, and two, it's just not liquid enough. Like, this will be someone buying like 10k of it or something, you know, reasonably small relative to anything else. If this was something like Fartcoin, and it was a bit more like this, in terms of like, you know, looked a bit more like desync, I'd be like, right, maybe if I can find a reason to long it and to jump in on that rotation, then there's a chance that I would, right? Oh, it started off so well, and obviously we weren't what's it called, micromanaging this, but alas. Time for CS2? Yeah. Looks chart looks like Kylan's by turning to 0. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no alt's immune to the pain of the market. But that's why we trade alts, right? Because it's huge beta to the upside, but sadly also to the downside. But that's why we want them. They are basically leveraged Bitcoin. How can we add spaghetti to our own trading view? So you just take this link, which I will put again in the chat for you, because I'm so kind and wonderful like that. Here you go. And then when you've got it, you just add symbols. So you can go, oh, I want Kaito on here, I want Adder, or I want whatever. And then you just add stuff. You make your own. Yeah, there's no like, I've never pretended that there's some alpha to creating this chart. But there is definitely a lot that you can learn to the way the market works. The link's just read-only with a lock on it. Oh yeah, you got to copy it up here. So you got to register a TradingView account, and then up here you'll have something that says like copy layout or something. Yeah. So you'll be able to copy it. $2021 ETH memes and alts for the days. Yeah, I mean, for me it was NFTs, mate. NFTs were the best. It was like being at school again and like opening a pack of football cards and you got a shiny or your mate got a shiny and then you're trading stuff and then you're doing all this. Like NFTs were great. I didn't think, and then there was the art side of NFTs, which I actually loved. They were just great. It was just a good time. Definitely my best time in crypto. Definitely my best time in crypto. But look, market's starting to run. Let's go to a lower time frame. And Fartcoin had that massive sell-off and is now back in the room, trying to crack this nut again. Like if I was trading this low time frame, right? I'm just kind of done. I mean, I'm long from much lower. I'm long from down here, but we'll see. Yeah, half accountant and half psychologist combined with what you teach us, we're all bloody lucky. Looking forward to a couple of years out and looking back on these days. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, mate. Like, you know, when I first started, what, 7, maybe 8 years ago now. Fuck me, yeah, it is 8 years ago. It was 2017. I had so much to learn. And, like, all I would do is I would listen to podcasts all the time about trading. I would journal everything. I was obsessed with it. I would just sit in Excel all day looking at stuff. You know, sorry, looking at like educational videos, educational content. You can do stuff here, like you can export the chart data and it will give you all the data points of all of this. And you can start working stuff out. Like you can really do some decent analysis of that data. But yeah, I guess my point is putting in the time and effort is kind of critical to success. And obviously being lucky. There is an element of luck and timing, obviously. Yeah, it's going to be harder to make it in whatever the next cycle looks like, or the continuation of this one. You know, it's just going to be harder. There's more participants, smarter participants. You know, it's difficult. And I think that people have to really hone an edge to be competitive and to make the returns that they want to make. And if they don't, a lot of people have this like complacent attitude of, well, I'm here, I'm in crypto, I'm going to make millions of dollars. It's like, how? Are you investing in low caps? Are you a good rotational trader? Are you a trader at all? Are you just an investor? Are you just buying Bitcoin when it's under the weekly moving averages? You know, absolutely fine strategy, do whatever you like. You know, DCA into downtrends or DCA at the start of uptrends, whatever, you know. But what is your strategy? How are you going to do it? Because you won't just be given multiple millions of dollars. Do you have any growth stocks like Tesla, Enphase, etc.? No, I think I'm going away for a couple of weeks, but I think after that I want to get more involved in TradFi. And that's more for the sakes of sticking all the cash that I've got in various like ISAs and stuff. You know, basically get some stonk ISAs and just smash them into specific stonks. But I don't really know what I'm doing, so. What happened to Ether Rocks? 0. Yeah, they were wild. I mean, people paying millions of dollars for a picture of a rock. Let's look at TradFi quickly. You know, this is the scenario that I wanted, and obviously I doodled something on the timeline which got everyone fucking flipping out in terms of what's it called, SPX dying and all of that stuff. Like for me, I thought this was the most probable scenario of pushing back into this previous, you know, consolidation and support. But it never made it that far and just kind of died off. If I remove everything, this just doesn't look great. This is like downtrending risk-off price action. I think as soon as it changes, it's probably going to do something like that, just to be very clear though. So, you know, shorting for me is just precautionary and protection. It's not, I'm going to retire off of this. Ether Rocks, what a throwback. Yeah, absolutely wild, aren't they? Yeah, for me, the next couple of weeks, you know, I like Near's probably another good example. You know, if you want some AI exposure and stuff, Near's very good sort of high cap coin. Again, I want a reclaim. I want something like this. I want to show me some strength. You know, things like FWOG, we had a really incredible run up, absolutely died. Consolidate, start running, break out of this consolidation area. You know, it will run to something like this if we get a decent risk on, like a decent risk on run. It's new enough to be kind of still in play. OM, something similar in terms of like range to like XRP, and it has these wild markups. So, you know, at this moment in time, I'm not particularly interested in just buying a bag, but if we get some relative strength and it breaks out of this consolidation here, it's likely going to just absolutely turbo up to $7. So definitely one to kind of have on the radar, which is why it's sat here all the time, because it is wild. What else we got? BNB. You know, sat on high time frame support, but a really, really boring coin to trade and hold. IMO. Now will 10x, but even stuff like Mu, you know, decent rotation, decent strength. I missed this run up on Bearer. I saw a few people on the timeline catch it, but yeah, I don't think there's much else for me to say. Like, a lot of altcoins look like they are at or are close to a local bottom, right? That's not me trying to give you hopium or anything like that. I genuinely think that, you know, when we start flipping some levels, we will start moving pretty swiftly to the upside. I think that aligns with a bit of risk on in terms of macro and in terms of, you know, the old Trumpy-Trumperson. But until then, you know, do I want to play this rotation down here? Not really. Does Pepe look really attractive high time frame if it starts flipping this level? Absolutely. So it's kind of almost time to lock in and pay attention. I don't want to jump in too early, because if we reject here, then, you know, clearly we're just going to carry on this downtrend. But if we start reclaiming levels, if we start pushing, if we start getting some strong momentum, if Bitcoin starts moving up as well, and then we get the confirmation of 91k reclaim, you know, bang, it's just going to be like next leg of the market. So we'll have a really productive, I'd say 4 to 8 weeks. And I'm certainly hoping that that's not during the next 2 while I'm away. But for all of you, I obviously hope that that happens. Bonk, a good example of like a daily div actually starting to play out, but equally, look at that, that's like the div playing out, bosh, and then it's come back to the entry, and it's really not doing much. So kind of similar thought process, consolidate for a long period, or a longish period, right, it's only a few weeks, and then run it back up a bit. Hola, hello TM partners. Right, I think that might be me done. So that might be me done for the next 2 weeks or so. So yeah, I'm not going to stream next week. I'm not going to stream the week after. But I will be streaming the week after that. So I will put a reminder out and stuff. And I will thank you all for your time, for being here. Thank you all for the support, for liking the video, for subbing to the channel, for doing all that kind of stuff, because it makes it worth my time doing it. Actually, the questions as well you know, you guys asking me questions keeps me engaged, keeps me knowing that I'm answering something for you specifically and giving you some knowledge that you actually want. By the way, Bitcoin isn't ripping until it laps 73k. An astrology girl told me a week ago. Good. Yeah, cheers. I will enjoy the holiday. We're going to Disneyland. I thought I was going to absolutely love it. You know, we all kind of can't wait to go and just get a bit of sun as well, because the UK is a bit of a shell. Thanks all. Yeah, cheers. We will have fun, and thank you all for being here yet again, and I will see you in 3 weeks' time. Au revoir, Ledgers.